This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Qualifying at Homestead, Miami at the end of last year, November.
Do you remember how excited he was after he got through doing that? It was kind of like a big surprise to him. Like, I can't believe I did it. I actually can't believe that I just now sat on the pole down
And
here.
I'm sure at some point in time he said the word cool.
A lot of smoke there from Ryan Newman, and is that a left front rub?
Left front fender rubbing a little bit right there, getting up to speed. As we talked, a lot of times when these guys get through testing, they go back to the shop, they try to tighten everything back up, and sometimes they don't quite get it like they need it.
Yeah, I believe Ryan's going to need to come back in, though, because the faster he gets going, especially when he gets up in a draft, that rub's probably only going to get worse. Looks like he's going to come to pit road and fix this. And, you know, that's the thing about this. We keep talking about this new Goodyear tire. Not only is it a softer compound, it's a softer sidewall. And what we have found during all the testing, the tire moves around a lot more. And in other words, a fender or quarter panel width of last year, you had to widen it out this year because the tire was flexing more.
As Newman goes back to the garage. And let's clear up right now, are the teams required to run a different car in the Bud Shootout than they're going to have inspected and run for the 500?
No, they're not. If they so choose, they can run the same car all the way through, but most of these teams elect to bring a separate car because, again, they realize that this is an all-out, basically, shootout, and they want to get into a situation where they need to beat and bang a little bit, and all of a sudden they don't wind up losing their best car, which they want to put all their hopes on for the 500.
Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart, the Joe Gibbs Racing teammates who did not change color schemes or much of anything else this year. Once again, back in Chevrolets, because that's another thing that's absent here for Speed Weeks 2004 is Pontiac. Pontiac has decided to take their racing budget and go road racing. And they're not involved in Nextel Cup this year. It's all Chevys, Fords, and Dodge.
Yeah, and
there was a puff of smoke off Jeff Gordon's car. Let's see if we have it in replay here.
yeah, that had all the look of maybe of a tire rub right there, because that's quite a bump over there in turn 1, going into turn 1. So I'm not sure on that one.
One of the greatest things about coming to Daytona in February is that first chance to listen to the sounds of speed. So we're going to let you.
That is a neat sound right there. Really neat sound.
I missed that.
You know, the guy out in front of this pack right here that's been leading them around ever since they went back to running, Mike Skinner, is actually in the 10 car. Now, this is the car that Scott Riggs will drive. But if you remember last year, the 01 car that Boris Said is driving, that team actually had 2 Bud poles. One with Boris Said at Infineon Speedway, one with Mike Skinner at Richmond. So what they decided to do, since Mike really don't have a full-time Nextel Cup ride, is they put him in the team car. Now, Mike will compete in the Daytona 500 in a 4th Richard Childress Racing ride. But for the Bud Shootout, he's in the 10 car.
And there you look out just in front of that pack right there, you'll see the 01 car up Boris Said. He kind of lost the draft, and right now he's trying to
Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Jeff, I think a similar thing happened over there in turn 2.
Yeah, what happened right there, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was coming up on that 20 car, Tony Stewart, and that air actually hit him on the left rear quarter panel, and right there it makes it so light, the back end is kind of set over on the 20 car. You just notice right here, just coming up off the corner, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is down there this low enough that when he comes up, air off his car, like kind of like pushing it up just a little bit. You see Dale kind of move down the low side real quick, thinking, ooh, I've kind of got my buddy in trouble here. Tony Stewart did a really good job of hanging on that race car.
It's one of the worst positions you can be in on the car is right there at that left rear. Right there is the same thing that happened to us in the 1997.
This is not practice. This is race simulation right here.
Well, that's exactly what you're going to see tomorrow night, Mike, and that's what these guys are trying to get geared up for right now. This is the way it's going to happen when they get through picking their positions. You got to remember, nobody knows where they're starting, so you got to figure out how good your car is no matter whether you're up front or whether you're in the back. This is the best time to understand the balance of your race car.
Our Fox colleague Darrell Walker will host the draw for position later this evening to find out where they'll start tomorrow night in the Bud Shootout. There is no speed qualifying for the Bud Shootout. It's always been determined by a draw among the eligible drivers. Now, Elliott Sadler, who posted the, how shall I say it, least fastest speed this afternoon, is the first car on track in that monochrome paint scheme, M&M number 38. And yet he's been out front ever since they dropped the rag and opened the track.
But they know the speed chart in practice is deceiving because it's all in how you're lined up. Maybe you got a group catching a group and the speed's going to shoot way up. We know we interviewed him in that first practice. He was very happy the way that car was driving. And sometimes when it's driving good and you know it's good, the safest place is in that garage area.
And that's where Boris said was until just now. He's going to pull out, try to join this pack. 17 of the 19 eligible drivers have been on track and made laps in this nighttime practice. Now this afternoon was, watch this.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. He was not quite clear of Mike Skinner in the 10 car and came down, and that's a big part of the spotter's shoulders up there, Jeff.
It really is, and you don't realize how close he came to get turned sideways right there. I mean, good job of driving by Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well as, you know, Mike Skinner, both that did the right thing to get crazy with the steering.
And so he should be. That car worked very, very well in this evening's practice. 19 drivers will square off at the Bud Shootout tomorrow night. You'll see it live on TNT, but you'll get your fill of Daytona beginning at 10 a.m. tomorrow when we have Nextel Cup practice.
It's going to be interesting tomorrow night. A lot of veterans in this race a lot versus a lot of those young guns we see a lot in every race.
And the big thing is, guys, can Dale Earnhardt Jr. do it again? And the other thing is, I'm really curious if he's going to be lucky enough to get the luck of the draw tonight to see where the starting positions all kind of come out.
We'll let you know tomorrow. Join us on Speed at 10 a.m. tomorrow for Nextel Cup practice. Good evening from Daytona. There's a technology transfer agreement among the Ford teams similar to what has existed for some time among the General Motors teams and what the Dodge teams have. It applies to engine technology. Roush going to share some chassis information with the Yates teams. But the rumor that surfaced on the internet that Roush was going to take over the running of Robert Yates race cars, totally unfounded. And they've been stressing the point that those remain completely separate operations.
And the biggest thing, they're just going to share an engine shop. That's where the biggest sharing is going to be.
So Kevin Harvick is quickest in this first practice session. Rusty Wallace, Boris Said, Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, Terry Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Dave Blaney, the fastest 8th, then Jamie McMurray and Tony Stewart, the top 10. So rejoin us at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time for round 2 of Bud Shootout practice on Speed.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
This has been a presentation of TNT Sports.